It's thinking about it, and we're live.
Yay! Welcome to the Joe Mobley Show. I am outspoken Samantha, and I am here with, on the other side, Joe Mobley. We're excited to be live with you today, and so we're going to be talking about a few things. Joe, are you ready for this?
I'm as ready as I'll ever be. I got my tissue box under the desk.
Yeah, Joe's got allergies, so we're going to be dealing with that, but it's going to be great. So today we're going to talk about DeSantis,
Or maybe I'm
and
overcome with emotions because DeSantis is running. No, I'm just kidding.
I think that's what we call triggered. So Joe is triggered, which is why he has his box of tissues.
Yes.
Yeah, because DeSantis announced his presidential campaign. So we are going to be talking about that today. We're going to be talking about an insane travel ban from the NAACP. We're going to be talking about the war in Ukraine and a very unpopular opinion that seems to have come out of Sebastian Gorka. So we need to talk about that. And maybe we'll talk a little bit about how it came to be that I am now on the show with Joe every week. So we've got a lot of things to touch on. Roll the
Is it
intro.
me? Boom. Whoops. I hit the wrong screen. There we are.
Oh, good. I was dancing along to the intro. I was really into it. So,
We're pros. I feel like the intro is like official foreshadowing, because you're all over it. I was like, I texted a few people and I was like, hey, I'm making a new intro. Is it cool if I put you in it? It was you, it was Casey, it was Michelle, and you were
mhm.
all like, yeah. I did not text Yvonne Hutton Pulitzer. I don't have a cell. Actually, I might have the cell. um I was just like, I'm using him with or without his permission.
Right, right. I'm sure he'll be truly honored.
Yeah, he's coming back to Loudon here pretty soon.
Nice.
Super smart. That dude is. I mean, the easy pass. Oh, use it
Mm,
every day.
awesome.
This
Well,
has nothing to do with anything.
uh-huh.
I thought the easy pass was just for my convenience, but he actually designed it because a ridiculous amount of people were dying per day, per month, per year in the traffic vortex on the like
Wow.
just outside of a toll, and also toll booth workers. Some crazy like tens of thousands of
What?
people were dying there. So that's what motivated him to actually develop that technology. I was like, man, this is so convenient. I get to go through 30 miles an hour, just straight through the thing. Yeah, he was talking to me about that, and I was like, man, that's nuts. Anyway, if he
Wow.
wasn't conservative, he'd get a Nobel Peace Prize. But you know,
It's
you know how it
true.
is.
It's true.
How are
I
you?
I'm great. I was today years old when I learned that there is like a major job danger when you're a toll worker. So,
Yeah. I love those videos. I do. The I was today years old. They're so good. Oh man. Oh man. Whoever came up with that, legend. Yeah.
right? I use
Yeah.
that phrase almost every day. I was today years old when I learned,
It's
because I'm
crazy.
discovering a lot of new things. Like I said, I had no idea that being a toll worker was like that dangerous of a job.
All right. Well, where are we starting? Are we starting with DeSantis? Are we starting with you know, we should be celebrating, but honestly, I don't even know how much I can celebrate because of my stupid nose. Like I'm dying, guys. But it is the 200th episode, so
It is.
yeah, I don't know. Yeah, like, oh, I should have gotten a sound effect for that. Here, we'll do the CSI. All right, that's our celebration.
I appreciate that. I think we should start with something a little softer. Maybe we should talk about the NAACP because I have no idea what that is all about. You guys, let me know if you have heard about the NAACP travel ban, but I'll let Joe take us into that one.
Did you see the note, or did you see the LGBT thing that I put in there under C in the intro? That's how I like to refer to the community, because it says LGBTQ AILMNOP plus, because right
Mhm,
now it's
mhm.
a quarter of the alphabet, and
Right.
just one more letter, guys, and it's going to be over a quarter. I think that they could do a third, and you deserve it. No one is as aggrieved as that precious community.
Right.
All
Yes,
right,
I hear they're
well,
marginalized.
this is not a joke, but the NAACP is warning black people and members of the LGBTQ LMNOP AI plus community, however you identify, they are warning us. I am in the black community. I know it's shocking. If you're an audio listener, I'm sorry to ruin it for you, but
Mhm.
they are warning us not to travel to Florida for our own safety. And here's MSNBC's finest gonna tell us a little bit about it.
The NAACP is issuing a travel advisory for the state of Florida.
So, how many of you were today years old
Yeah.
when you learned that the N double freaking ACP can issue a travel advisory? Normally, something that the State Department does or an official nation state. But here in our pathetic society, um, the NAACP. So, yeah, I don't know. Take heed.
Civil rights organization said in a statement that Florida is openly hostile to African Americans, people of color, and LGBTQ plus individuals, and said the decision comes in response to Ron DeSantis' attempts to erase Black history. They also listed specific pieces of legislation they feel violate civil rights, adding DeSantis' actions are, quote, in direct conflict with the democratic ideals that our union was founded upon. While it's unusual for an organization other than the State Department to issue a travel advisory, the NAACP's move is not unheard of. Back in 2017, it issued a travel advisory for Missouri after a controversial bill was passed there.
Wow, that's wild.
Oh
Oh,
my
shut it.
goodness.
No one cares what you have to say, guy. I mean, you heard it here first, guys. It's hard out there. Ron DeSantis is actively erasing well, I guess not black America. It's an African American. So Elon Musk, not welcome in Florida.
Mhm.
As a prolific uh African American. SpaceX, you know,
Right.
keep those dollars. Tesla, they probably are going to ban Teslas here pretty soon. Um,
Right.
and it used to be "Don't say gay." Now they're actually just going to bleep it out. It's going to be the "Don't say" bill.
Yeah, I hear people are dropping like flies every time they utter the word gay in Florida.
I
So I can
know.
understand why they issued this travel ban. Actually, I really honestly don't understand what's going on. And this is just the kind of thing that just leaves you speechless because there are legitimately people, because I remember watching this video when you sent it to me, I was like, there's no way. There's no way that anybody is taking this seriously. There is no way that people are this stupid. Come to find out, yes, they are. Because
Yep.
if you read the comments, I think it's underneath that particular video, people talk about how threatened they feel and how unsafe they feel. And they're like, yes, family and friends, don't come to Florida. It's dangerous here. Never mind, trying to travel to places like Seattle or New York
The
or
NAACP
Chicago. Like, no one would ever dare say, don't go to those cities.
The
But
comments
they're like,
are where it's at. I love reading comments.
yeah, I might have to bring some of those up. Um, it,
This could
it,
be our USA. Vote as if your country depends on it, folks. Educate yourselves.
The people that say educate yourself the most seem to be the least educated.
Oh gosh, Canadian.
What?
Okay, get it together, Joe. My rugged Americanism it just can't hold it together with this one.
Mhm.
Canadian Foreign Affairs has put Florida and Texas on their list of destinations where travelers should take precautions. Better yet, guys, just don't go. If you're Canadian, Florida, Canada, like Texas, we don't want to have anything to do with you. The whole United States doesn't want to have anything to do with you guys. Just stay up there with your lakes and your butter and whatever else you got up there, and everything will be just fine. So, this might be a conspiracy, but both of these brown women were never seen again. I bet you can't this one either. This guy back here, he's
Yeah.
looking up. There's probably a sniper getting ready to take him out. That's what Ron DeSantis is ordering. Get rid of all of these black and brown faces back here. Never again. This little boy, I bet you can't. I bet you can't find any of these people, guys. They're gone. They got
Uh,
exiled from Florida.
uh, there's another comment down here. It says the travel advisory is no joke. I live in the state of Florida for about 20 years, and although I'm white and not trans, I feel frightened to simply live in an authoritarian state. Who knows what might be banned next? War on Disney also. This is not a fun state. I'm a nervous wreck to find myself in such a place. Like, they're not kidding. I don't I feel like this should be in the Babylon Bee, and it's not. This is the world. Like every single day I see stuff like this, I'm like, this is a joke, right? This is not actually happening. I don't, how, if you guys have any ideas how to answer this question, but how do people get to this point? Because if you were to ask anybody an example of the violence that they are experiencing because of Ron DeSantis's legislation and, trying to keep CRT out of classrooms, not one of them would be able to tell you exactly what he's talking about because they don't ever ask for proof or evidence.
Yeah.
They just hear, "Oh, it's dangerous," and then they believe it.
So Desdemona 5829, who wrote that comment, problem
Mhm.
with your theory here. War on Disney. The guy that you're accusing of waging war actually has access to a literal military with tanks and jets and scary black rifles and the camouflage and all of that stuff.
Mhm.
So no, not waging war. No, no. And you can move.
Yeah.
This person would have such an eye-opening experience if they moved to the liberal mavens, moved to Chicago, moved to New York City, moved to Los Angeles, and enjoy all of the deep blue thought that you want to be sitting there backstroking in. Like, just do it. You don't have to live in Florida where there's no income tax and where it's bright and sunny, where they prosecute criminals for property crimes and violent crimes. You don't have to
You
live
know,
there.
you know, and this just popped into my brain. I mean, there are numerous things that blow my mind about this whole situation. But you're talking about Chicago and these deep blue cities that are in absolute chaos. Like if you spend 35 seconds on social media and you look up San Francisco or Seattle or any of these cities, you can see total and utter devastation. Like people don't even feel safe walking down the street anymore. There are innocent people getting the crap kicked out of them for absolutely no reason in these cities. Like it is not safe. It used to be that we used to be able to say, well, if you look at such and such place overseas in like another country and look at how they're living, look at Honduras, look at some of these countries that are known for being dangerous, that's where a travel advisory belong. We don't even have to go over the ocean to find those places anymore. It's like just look at the next state over and see how things are going there. Like it's in your backyard, guys. Like you don't have to look that hard to see how this narrative does not match up with reality.
All right, I gotta put this guy on blast too. Ron Bubian. I'm an American, but my wife is Japanese. Good for you, Ron. We live in Japan with our young son. After facing racial discrimination in a public supermarket in Florida, my wife has never gone back. The last time that I went to visit my family, it was just my son and I. My wife stayed in Japan. All right, here are the problems. Number one, I'm calling bullcrap, okay? If your wife was overtly, outwardly discriminated against, maybe yelled at, or, had pejoratives thrown at her because of her race, it was most likely done by a black guy. Just plain and simple. Ron, as a black guy, I feel like I can welcome you to reality as backed up by the FBI's Uniform Crime Report, which you can Google all the way from over in Japan. Number two, the Japanese are some of the most racist people on earth, okay? Asian countries are extremely racist. Japan is so racist that they're racist against Japanese Americans, and they can tell within 5 seconds of meeting them that they're not Japanese, but they're actually American. And they will say to you, "You're not Japanese, you're American. Now get out of my face." So it's that way in China, it's that way in Korea, in Vietnam. Like, what are you talking about? You moved to a place that is much more homogenous and much more racist than the United States and Florida. So you're full of crap. You're full of crap. You're a spineless man who bent over backward for your coward wife, who is probably getting her cowardice from your coward, well, I won't say that word, self, from your coward self. So no, I wish I could just delete this comment. It's not my channel, though. Oh, man. Thumbs down, Ron. Thumbs down.
Yeah. Yeah. And I'm just looking at some of the comments on Facebook. Dee says they're mad that parents are being allowed to control their children's education. It's about their agenda, facing some resistance. And Barbara says people have lost their freaking minds. I agree.
100%.
It's wild because they don't know what the words authoritarian means. They don't know what the word fascist means. They don't know what any of this means. It's like the people in Florida literally have the right to raise their children how they want to raise them and to run their businesses how they want to raise them and run them. And Ron DeSantis, kept the state of Florida open when everybody else was closed. Like, the man has done nothing but make sure that individual people have rights, and the curriculum or the Black history that these people are talking about, at least I saw in one of the other videos, is this it was an LGBTQ curriculum under the guise of being Black history. So it was called, they wanted to teach it in Black History Month, and they were using that as a cover where a lot of it was really referencing LGBTQ. And this is what happens when you actually do your research. You find out that a lot of the things that they're labeling, these curriculums as, is not what they're teaching at all. So it's just, it blows my mind. But I don't see any of them running to New York. So
Nope. Because New York is an actual authoritarian state. Oh my goodness. Hi, Nina. Thanks for, I think you're the first person that I pulled from someone else's show, from Chaotic Truth. Thanks for being here. Goodness gracious. I don't know what to say. It's ridiculous that the NAACP exists at this point. Even more ridiculous that they're issuing travel advisories, which the lady on the news even called it out herself. She was like, yeah, I mean, it's a little bit weird, but they're Black, so let's listen to them. Let's
right.
Yeah. That group is just useless. It needs to go bye-bye. And they have a vested interest in the continued existence of racism because they fight racism. So that's all you need to know, folks. All right. Oh yeah, and then the LGBTQ angle just there's none of that. And if someone does commit crime, Florida is one of the places where they will prosecute hate crimes, which I don't even really like the term hate crimes, but they prosecute things involving the community. They definitely will prosecute any type of racially motivated or gender motivated, crimes.
Yeah.
Goodness freaking gracious. So.
Yep. Meanwhile, we still don't have the manifesto from the gal who went to Covenant School. So
They're still trying to get ChatGPT to write a better version that makes them look better.
yeah. Well, I think enough of that. What should we do? DeSantis or Ukraine? Sorry,
Jay
guys, my hair is
Short,
like
Trump did ban bump stocks. It was incredibly stupid. Yeah. DeSantis is better on the Second Amendment. Yet to be seen. Sorry, Rumble comment. Oh,
no, that's okay.
we didn't even say the thing. Follow our shows. Da, 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 da,
That's
da.
all you.
Yes, like, share, subscribe, do all the stuff. DJ Mumbly Show, podcast, YouTube, Rumble, and I think it's that button. And Outspoken
Yay.
Samantha, YouTube,
Yep.
Rumble, Facebook. I
Rumble
guess I'm on Facebook too. But Rumble.
and Twitter. Do Twitter.
Oh man, I completely forgot about Twitter. I don't think Twitter's comments get pulled in. So guys, if you're watching on Twitter, okay, let me just pull it up. Twitter, such a wonderful / dangerous place.
Mm-hmm.
Oh wow, 105 views on Twitter. Well, thanks guys. If you're on Twitter, you can't subscribe yet, but you can follow us. Yeah, you can like and do all that stuff. Here. Oh dang, I didn't even post it. Let's see. There we go. I'm just not having a good day with the promoting the show.
That's all right.
Maybe after 300 episodes I'll figure out and know what I'm doing. Well, do we want to go DeSantis, or I feel like the Ukraine stuff will take long.
I think both of these are going to take long, so I will let you pick.
Here, we will segue, and I noticed the weirdest thing. Here, we'll segue into this. It's 200 episodes. As you guys have noticed over the last several weeks, Samantha here is co-hosting because she's just that freaking awesome.
It's true.
And I mean, she's been here for a while because, look at this, 35 views. This is old school episode 133.
Mm-hmm.
So there were more views on YouTube, but they got deleted. Sorry. But I noticed this when I was preparing for the show 4 or 5 days ago.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, I got to put the shirt on because so many of the early appearances, it was this shirt. This is the first. This is the very first.
Do that.
Oh my goodness.
Are you still paying for your gym membership?
Yeah, I'm one of those people
Oh, they
that
got
pays
you,
for it
girl.
a month, and I haven't, like I said, I haven't used it in a year.
Super substantive content here. And I'm literally rocking the shirt. And then I'm like, okay, well, what did I wear? Apparently, I'm like, Samantha's on. I got to wear my red, white, and blue shirt.
Oh my gosh. Again?
Yep, I wore it again.
It's a favorite.
For
It's a favorite.
145. Yeah, awesome September. The intro was pre-recorded. I did not wear it for 153 teen suicide appointments on the rise. Oh, which actually reminds me, we need to get what's her name back on. Dr. Is it Graham? The older lady who was in What Is a Woman? She was awesome.
Yeah.
I interviewed
I can't remember
her.
what her name is, but I know who you're talking about.
I interviewed her, and we need to get her back on because I think that the three of us would have a lot of fun. And then this episode from July, the triggered one, you were on as well.
Yep.
This one's a good one. So you guys should go and rewatch this. Look, it's only 115 views on Rumble.
Yeah.
But
it's been interesting.
I did want to just kind of point out, you guys are really watching over on Rumble. These aren't episodes. These are the episodes are the ones that say episode and a number. But yeah, pretty routinely over 1,000 views. So keep it coming. Like, get off of
Yeah.
YouTube. Go over to Rumble and
Yep. No, it's been fun. And I remember, I think the first time you messaged me or something and you asked if I wanted to come on the show, and I was so confused. I was like, why? You know,
I get that a
I
lot.
mean, well,
Why?
I've had experiences of people asking me to, do interviews, and like they're not always real invites. So I'm like, is this a joke? Like, why would you? So I was like, okay, I'll bite. Sure. I'm sure you've got a show.
Yeah, I send Twitter messages and cold emails all the time. And
Yeah.
I've said it before, I've said it again. I've definitely, my favorite shows have 2 or 3 kind of permanent people that are just on it, or 2 people and they rotate in a third person. So I started this in November 2020 after St. Floyd was killed, but really after
3
St.
years ago
Floyd
today.
died.
3
Yeah.
years ago today.
Oh gosh. Yeah. Oh, what a guy. What a guy. Goodness gracious.
Yeah. Yeah.
I wish so many things about that situation. But so November to like New Year, so I'm kind of going along. I'm doing my solo thing and interviewing people. And it was a lot of fun, but I've been on this freaking like quest to find like a solid second chair person. And I tried so many different people. And it just didn't work out with them. And one of them is like a super Q person, and I just got to tell you, it's a little bit annoying. I mean, okay, Q people like already are saying that Ron DeSantis has been killed or captured, and he's a replacement now. And so I'm sure there's about to be stuff about his earlobes and his shoe size and his hairline, and who the heck knows. And I'm just like, where do people get this stuff from? I don't know. I'm pretty sure that Ron DeSantis is in fact Ron DeSantis. Joe Biden, I've watched some of those TikToks. They are kind of interesting.
Yeah. Well, I have a whole theory about that. I think they're gonna run AI Joe for 2024.
Oh, 100%. He doesn't do public appearances. Do you remember his campaign rallies with like 10 people in roped off chair areas? They could totally do, Chat GPT Joe.
I really believe it, because I've posted it on my page before, but you remember that little clip that he did? I think it was about gun control, but I can't remember. And all of us were like, what the heck is that? Like, his hair is parted on the wrong side. His eyes look all beady. He didn't blink for like 60 seconds. And we're like, is this like an artificial intelligence thing? And now looking back, I'm like, I think they were testing it out. I think they were testing out people's response to that. And I think they're going to do a lot more AI Joe for 2023 and 2024 for the campaign.
All right, guys. I use ChatGPT. I've never been shy about it. I'm about to ask it to write something in the style of Joe Biden.
Oh, no.
Write a YouTube intro for the Joe Mobley Show in the style of Joe Biden. And it's probably going to say, I am an AI bot and I don't want to make political statements. Wow. Background music fades in. Animated graphics of the American flag waving gently. Title card appears. The Joe Mobley Show. Soft inspirational music starts playing, and then the Joe Biden voiceover. Ladies and gentlemen, friends and fellow Americans. Okay, no. Already now. Welcome to the Joe Mobley Show. Wow, there's no stuttering in here. How interesting. I wonder if
Right?
there'll be one of those weird, my butt's been wiped or something like that, where we come together to explore the stories that shape our great nation. I'm Joe Biden, and I'm honored to be your host on this incredible journey
Right.
of
Well,
discovery.
they included climate change in there. So sorry,
Clips of diverse.
I'm looking at my screen over here. Oh my gosh.
Clips of diverse people. It knows that Joe Biden's gonna race bait in the
Oh my,
B-roll. Wow.
that's amazing.
Wow. No, 100% they could do this.
Yeah.
Smiling and shaking hands with guest. What? Anyway, yeah, no, I think you nailed it.
Yeah.
AI Joe.
Yeah.
Wow, that's like a bonus story.
Yeah.
Hmm.
We'll have to keep an eye on him.
Wow, images of Joe Mobley engaging in community service and activism. It doesn't mention my MAGA hat. Come on. What are you doing?
Right. Doesn't say Joe Mobley is a white supremacist.
Oh gosh. Well, I'm glad that you answered the random Twitter message or wherever I messaged you. Yeah, because this is awesome.
Yeah.
And
Me too. Me too. And it's been fun to be able to do this every week because I post videos pretty frequently. I haven't done as much this week, just it's been a crazy week, but it's more fun engaging in conversation, and I feel like I can discuss issues outside of what I normally talk about on my channel when we have these conversations, and then we get the comments, and it's a lot of fun. It's what I wanted to do, so I appreciate it.
I love your videos. I think they're super pithy and funny. And for the longest time, because if you guys don't watch her YouTube videos, she puts out a lot of videos. And I know what it's like to crank out videos. When I started, it was little short form YouTube videos. And I didn't ask for a long time because I was like, she's too busy. She's cranking out like a video every other day. Um,
Hmm.
yeah. But then I was like, screw it. And here
Yeah.
we are.
No, I know.
So,
I know. So I take about 30 minutes before I leave for work in the morning to crank out a video, and then I edit it while I'm sitting at my desk and doing other things. And then I get home and,
nice.
read whatever stories are going on and figure out what I'm going to do the video on the next day. So it's crazy. But so that's why I haven't done as many this week. My brain is just overloaded, but there's a lot of things that we need to talk about. I think that we should touch on the Ron DeSantis and Trump thing, because I think a lot of people are interested in hearing how that's going.
All right. Well, do we want to watch? I don't even want to watch this. I was not impressed with Ron DeSantis's public statements and all. But I mean, I got the video here, so we can
Yeah, we don't
watch
have to
it.
watch the whole thing, but let me know, you guys, if you guys ended up watching this, or if you tuned in on Twitter, or was it Twitter Spaces? On Twitter Spaces to the whole message, if you were a part of all the glitches. I want to hear how that went, because I caught it afterwards, so I wasn't there when it was happening in real time.
Yeah. This is this isn't the Twitter space, but it's the video.
Well, I am running for president of the United States to lead our great American comeback. Look, we know our country's going in the wrong direction. We see it with our eyes and we feel it in our bones. Our southern borders collapse. Drugs are pouring into the country. Our
If you're thinking it's exceedingly weird to have B-roll of someone who's not running for president in your announcement video of you running for president, that's because it is.
cities are being hollowed out by spiking crime.
Yeah,
The
that's
federal
Elon
government's
Musk.
making it harder for the
There he
average
is.
family to make ends meet and to attain and maintain a middle-class lifestyle. And our president, well, he lacks vigor, flounders in the face of our nation's challenges, and he takes his cues from the woke mob. I don't think it has to be this way. American decline is not inevitable. It is a choice. And we should choose a new direction, a path that will lead to American revitalization. We must restore sanity to our nation. This means embracing fiscal and economic sanity. Stop pricing hardworking Americans out of a good standard of living through inflationary borrow, print, and spending policies. And please embrace American energy independence. This also means replacing the woke mind virus with reality, facts, and enduring principles. Merit must trump identity politics. We must return normalcy to our communities. America's a sovereign country.
Here, we'll stop it here because it's actually Ron DeSantis. I don't know. I feel like we could get a good, maybe a smile or something. No, yes, no. It's like a freaking dodging pictures
To our
of
communities. America is a
all right, that's it. That's it, Ron. I mean, I'll let you kind of talk. My comment is I wasn't impressed by the announcement. I don't consider myself a media professional, even though I guess I have had some pretty solid media experience and training. I was hoping for not necessarily more, but definitely better.
Yeah.
What are
Yeah.
your thoughts?
Well, I have a lot of thoughts, but I mean, as far as the actual like campaign announcement, as you know, being on Twitter Spaces, I think that was kind of a risky move anyway because nobody has used it for that. So it's like it could go really well or it could completely bomb because no one's used it for that. You don't know, like, you know, are you prepared for it? I mean, the smart thing to me would have been to have you know, like a 30-minute kind of waiting intro, or to have, you know, something playing so that if there were these technical issues, they could have had them worked out before Ron DeSantis actually came on. So I'm not a tech expert whatsoever, so that, you know, the glitches and everything was frustrating, and it was really unfortunate because of all the times to have a technical issue, like right when
Yeah.
someone's launching a presidential campaign, it's like, is this thing on? You
Yeah,
know, that's like the
that's
last thing you want to happen. But as far as like the message, I really appreciated everything that Ron DeSantis said. I mean, does he have the same personality as Trump? No. Does he have like the appeal and the, you know, getting the audience excited like Trump? I mean, I'm not saying he doesn't, but in this particular message, I think that that was lacking, and that's why perhaps Twitter Spaces wasn't the best place to do it, because all you could hear is audio. There was no like real video. There wasn't, you know, opportunity for people to like see and like engage with his energy. So I just think, you know, I understand why he wanted to use Twitter Spaces. As a lot of people are talking about how he wanted to kind of go past the media and just connect directly with the audience. But again, like without it being used for that reason beforehand, it was kind of a risky move. So, and unfortunately, it didn't work out well, especially since people have been like anticipating a Ron DeSantis like presidential campaign for like 2 years. You know, people have been worked up and excited for him to announce and to see how things are going to play out between he and Trump, and just to kind of have this letdown was not a great start.
yeah, we're being like Mandela affected right here because this is why I don't trust the internet. They're always changing stuff and they just hope no one notices. When I keep opening the article, it's showing me this and they changed it. They changed it, changed the link or something. I typed it directly into Google. It used to be, this Daily Mail article used to say about the announcement, biggest failing campaign launches in history.
Yeah.
But that's been scrubbed from the internet, and now if you actually search for it, if you click on it, it changes to this Ron DeSantis's white rain boots bullcrap.
Yeah.
And if you actually type this into Google, this actual like word, like search the syntax, it's gone. Interesting.
I've
I
had
look.
that happen before.
Yeah, I looked at this just a few hours ago too. Oh, you
Yeah.
sneaky, sneaky people. Mm-mm-mm.
Yeah.
I agree with everything that you said. You you cannot take these wild science experiments like, let's just try something new. One, it is not radio days. It's
Hmm.
1080p, it's 4K. I think they're working on 8K or whatever. It's short form video, long form video. Like, people want to be able to see the pores on your freaking face. You
Right.
cannot be like, I'm going to choose to do an audio only. And if you said, I'm going to do audio only, then it's like, oh, so a podcast? No, a Twitter space. What? A Twitter
Yeah.
space? First off, for voter base, more people use, I hate to say this, more people use Facebook than Twitter. Twitter
Mhm.
is, there are a lot of politicos on Twitter. Twitter is where news breaks. Guess what? Ron DeSantis and Elon Musk, I cannot believe, with all the king's horses and all the king's men that they have, no one told them, hey guys, everyone on Twitter already knows who they're voting for.
Yeah.
They know the polling, they know the issues, they're articulate. Twitter's a little bit of a dumpster, for like a cesspool for sure, but the people on Twitter know who they're voting for. Facebook,
Yeah.
Instagram, other meta bullcrap. Don't go to Getter, don't go to Truth. Those people know what they're voting for. Podcast, if you're going to go podcast, then you're looking Joe Rogan, or you're looking at those biggest podcasts in the world, probably a business podcast. Megan Kelly, maybe her show is top
Yeah.
10. He could have made a better announcement on Dave Ramsey's show.
Yeah.
I'm just completely let down. And also, he didn't have a microphone. It was very clear he was either talking directly into a phone, or maybe he had these little like Apple headphone
Mhm.
deals going on. The sound quality wasn't great. Spaces does allow for you to use studio quality microphones into a desktop at this point. I've even done it. And it was, if you're going to go audio only, then you need to be an impassioned speaker. All of you
Mhm.
on YouTube, Rumble, whatever, Google Winston Churchill's greatest speeches, Martin Luther King Jr., JFK, Ronald Reagan. These are impassioned speeches, and you're going to announce, he's like, hey guys, so real quick, my name's Joe Mobley, and our nation's in decline. Things are not going well, and for these reasons, I'm going to be running for president. And then I turn around and watch the video, and when he says that he's Ron DeSantis, it's like he has a hard time saying his own name, which is point for
Oh,
Q. Maybe it
yeah.
is an actor. Like, oh, it's just
Yeah.
my theory. My theory is that he already has saboteurs in his camp, and those saboteurs specifically work in his media and campaign strategy, because it's bullcrap from the governor's standpoint and their communications, and it's also bullcrap in the communications and the public posturing coming from the campaign comms team. And I know that they know better. I
Yeah.
know that they know how to do this. So anyway,
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's wild. And maybe that's true. Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I have mixed feelings about the whole. He had an opportunity to make it so much better than he did. What I worry about is that people are going to get hung up on this. I mean, we know the left is going to run with it, which is ridiculous because their guy can't even manage a teleprompter or a set of
yeah.
stairs. Like, we don't. They, but to me, like, I just don't want people to get distracted by the technical issues and just the underwhelmingness of the initial announcement, because I'm personally excited about Ron DeSantis running. I feel like you might be more of a Trump person. I don't know. Like, to be clear,
Oh,
whoever ends up,
I'm for
Trump or
sure a Trump
DeSantis,
person.
yeah, it's going to make for interesting commentary over the next. And whoever whoever of these two ends up on the ballot, like 100%, either one is going to get my vote. Like, no questions asked. I have like zero, hesitation about that. I have things about Trump that I'm worried about. I have things about DeSantis that I'm worried about. I hope that I'm worried about kind of this, and not talking about you, but like there is this cult like mentality that people
Oh,
are just
for sure.
like Trump
For
and
Trump,
that's
yeah.
it. And
Yeah.
it's like we
And
don't,
those people piss me off just like a liberal does. If I'm like,
yeah,
why would you vote for Trump? And they don't have anything substantive to say about policy
yeah,
or and they also can't say when someone says, tell me something that Trump does that you don't agree with. I have a long list.
yeah,
Policy and character things
yeah,
and stuff like Jay Short said with the Second Amendment. Uh yeah. Oh
yeah.
man.
So I worry a lot about the fighting within the Republican Party that is gonna happen before, until we figure out who the nominee is. And it's really unfortunate because that's the last thing we need. We don't need to be fighting about these. Like, it's real. I don't know. I like I said, I have so many things that I could say about this. I'll just make my own video tomorrow and just go off for like 30 minutes straight. But
Well, I saw your
you know,
tweet. Your tweet was 100% accurate. Like it's very likely going to be one of these guys and I'm voting for that guy.
yeah, like
Same.
well, but it's funny because essentially, they might have different approaches to things, but they're the same person in a lot of ways. Like they both have the same values, they both love America, they both don't put up with the crap from the media. Like, I know that there are differences, but it used to be that people were saying make America Florida, or they, were
Yeah,
really
that's
excited about
true.
a Trump DeSantis ticket, or you know there were so many policies that DeSantis was admired for because they were so similar to Trump, and he stood up in the way that Trump was standing up. So there's so many similarities. It's like it doesn't even make sense to fight about these two, because I feel like either way, like we're gonna win. Like, we can't. I don't think we can lose with either of these two candidates. So
Yeah.
it just, I just don't want there to be. I just want us all to get along.
I like Jay Short's comment on Rumble. Joe, there's a year left until the primary. There will be mistakes. It comes down to who can recover better after those mistakes. I definitely agree with that. And Donald Trump has no shortage of stupid things that he's going to do and say. There'll
Yeah.
probably be 5 more, sexual assault allegations or something. And maybe one of his family members is gonna have like a freaking OnlyFans tape drop or something. Who the heck knows? Uh,
Yeah, you never know. I mean, it,
yeah,
yeah, I mean, we can't pretend here. We can't pretend that Trump's presidency was perfect or that he didn't have mistakes, and we can't pretend that there aren't things about Ron DeSantis that we shouldn't be worried about. That being said, we can't pretend that Trump like didn't accomplish anything. I was listening to Liz Wheeler the other day, and she had Ann Coulter on, and I like Ann Coulter. She doesn't like Trump at all, and she went on for the whole 45 minutes about literally how Trump did nothing and his presidency was a failure. And her biggest complaint was that the wall, like, he didn't get more of the wall done. And it was like,
wow,
I I can appreciate your complaints, but to get out there and say that Trump did nothing in 4 years is ridiculous. That is
yeah,
delusional. Um, and then the same with DeSantis. Like, people are like acting like he doesn't have a record or he doesn't have a reason for us to trust him. But it's like he's done some incredible things in Florida, and his actions have been consistently in favor of the American people. So it's like we've got a good reason to weigh both of these candidates, guys, and to have open discussions and be open to what their policies are, because that's what it's going to come down to. But we have zero reason to be
yep,
fighting about them.
yeah. That I will say this. This is something, and I've said this to a lot of my personal friends. This is something that's pissing me off about big Trump fans who are changing to DeSantis for this specific reason. It's a big violation to me personally. People who know me in real life, one of the most dangerous things in existence is a coward. Jordan Peterson talks about this. The great philosophers spoke about this. Um,
Hmm.
yeah, cowards are capable of some of the most egregious, terrible acts,
Yeah.
period, because they'll do anything for one more moment of life. The people who are saying, if you want to vote for DeSantis, if you Ramaswamy, I think he's an awesome candidate. If you want to vote for him, I didn't vote for Trump in the primary. I think it was ranked choice order, and I did Ben Carson and Gary Johnson. I'm not a libertarian, but I think I did Gary Johnson, Ben Carson, Trump, 2016. I think that was my high three. But anyway, if you want to vote for Ron Swanson, for Ron DeSantis, if you want to vote for Ron Swanson, great. I don't know, or write in Chuck Norris or something. If you want to vote for Ron DeSantis because you like Ron DeSantis, his policies, his presence, his character, which does seem to be better than Donald Trump's, great. But don't vote for DeSantis because you're afraid of the left going after Trump, because they constantly went after him, because the media was constantly getting after him. That means that you're a coward. And that means your response to bullying is to curl up into a ball and say, please don't do it anymore. No. We don't need that. No one needs that, because newsflash, the media is going to treat Ron DeSantis exactly the same as Trump.
Yep.
If the Pope was an American citizen and a Republican and he ran for president, they would treat him like Trump, which is like Hitler, or like the leader of the KKK, which the leaders of the KKK are actually Democrats, but whatever. That's just a minor footnote in history. It doesn't matter who we put up. It doesn't matter. If Ben Carson had gotten it, what's the guy's name? Old governor of Arkansas, Huckabee. Super great guy. If he was the candidate when he ran 2012 or 16 or whatever, they would have said all those evil things about him. That's the name of the game, guys. That's what their strategy is say that they're Nazis, they're racist, they're phobic of everything.
Well,
I learn of new phobias we have.
They've been calling Ron DeSantis a fascist for years. So it's like, they're going to, but I do have a question, because I had this thought earlier. If, when they were running against Trump, when they were attacking Trump, were, as if that's the past tense, they're always attacking Trump. A lot of it, especially during his presidency, was about his personality. He was too harsh. He was too mean tweets. That was the biggest thing. And a lot of times people said, like, if we could just get Trump to focus on his policies and get Trump without the personality, the left would have less to attack him about. And I felt even at that time that Ron DeSantis was that person. He was like Trump, but without the personality. So if they get Trump in there, of course, they're going to go after his mean tweets again. If Ron is the nominee, what are they going to attack him on? Because I don't think that they can use that same tactic. I don't think they can go after him and be like, he tweets mean things and he's mean to reporters. Like, he doesn't have that brashness. So I'm wondering, like, what angle they'll use aside from being a fascist and a racist.
I don't think he's the most. So if we could say, like, Trump is basically America first. I don't think that DeSantis is the most America first politician aside from Trump that comes to mind. Jim Jordan comes to mind for me. Josh Hawley. Hawley? Did I just say that wrong? Josh Hawley. Yeah. Senator Hawley. Anyway, Josh. I'm just going to call him Josh. Why not? Because he's just a United States senator. Come to mind some of the firebrand, like, younger Congress people. No, just absolutely not. Matt Gaetz, Brobart, what's her name? I can't think of her name.
Marjorie Taylor Greene.
Yes, thank you.
I knew exactly who you're talking about.
Jay Short. I don't know what happened to Ted Cruz. Ted Cruz is pretty America first. Man, you are firing with the comments. Absolutely, cult leaders can never do anything wrong. There is a cult of Trump. I'm a big Trump supporter. The cult Trump people annoy me to death. Okay, not not on their team. I'm more team like George Washington.
Hmm.
Trump does need to answer for the jab for sure. Warp speed was an absolute disaster. But also, yes, he did get Roe v. Wade overturned,
Yeah.
which is if you want to vote for the candidate who's more of a harm reductionist, then you have to vote for Trump. Trump will end the war in Ukraine. If you're that type of person, which we'll talk about here in a second. Oh yeah, I don't militarily. I don't think DeSantis has the chops. If you're in like the intelligence community or aware of military operations, Trump was a gangster. I mean, the man rolled up in North Korea without any security, like Leonidas. Like, I wish someone would. Anyway, it's
Yeah.
interesting. I would love to see. I would love to see DeSantis's courageousness in his leadership grow that way.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. No, I completely agree. And that's why I say, like, I have zero issues with Trump. If he gets in there, and I'm not even saying I'm not going to vote for him in the primary. I honestly think that over the next, we have a year and a half until, but by the time the primaries come, I think a lot of us we're going to have a much better idea of who the best candidate is. And I'm just interested in seeing, hearing more from Ron DeSantis about what his foreign policy is going to be and more of these like federal issues because he's really been focused on the governorship, which as he should be. But it's like, okay, how are you going to handle these bigger issues like, China and Russia and the war and all of these things? Like we need to know what you're going to do there. So I'm
uh,
listening, I'm watching, and I'm waiting.
if I could pull someone who's not on the stage, put them on the stage, and make them a top pick, it would be Christy Nome. Boom.
I know.
All
People
Grandma
were
Nome.
like all about that too. She'd be amazing. Or
Yeah.
how about Carrie Lake? I mean,
People have said that Carrie Lake should be someone's VP pick. I think Trump Lake would be a disaster. I think that it would. I think
yeah,
it would all be about COVID. It would be about elections. It'd be about
yeah,
fraud. I would have. I would be so annoyed by a Trump Lake ticket. I would just be
yeah,
like, oh, I would be actively talking about other stuff on the show just to
yeah,
not talk about it'd be pretty bad.
yeah. No, it'll definitely be interesting. I think Vivek Ramaswamy. I like him, but just because I want to say President Ramaswamy, so
Yeah.
that'd be that'd be fun. But we'll
It's
see
also
how
going to
that
be fun
goes.
to see Trump go after these people. Ramaswampy here. He's not
Yeah,
even that good of an Indian. I don't think he is. I mean, Trump says some stupid stuff. When he said that, when he said that Ben Carson's not even that good of a doctor, who literally invented a type of brain surgery, like
right.
it's just like, wait, what?
Yeah,
Like they made a movie about this guy's being a good doctor. Uh,
yeah,
well,
yeah.
it's 9:30. Do you want to talk about Ukraine or do you want to call it?
No, I definitely want to talk about Ukraine. We can go a few more minutes.
All right, guys. Well, Ron Swanson, Ron DeSantis, if you are running, you gotta step up, man. You gotta
Yeah,
step up your game. This is the
no
big
more
leagues.
Twitter Spaces. Like
Yeah,
just stay away from Twitter Spaces. Like,
yeah. Your buddy Elon Musk let you down. Let you down big time. Oh
yeah,
my goodness. All right,
yeah,
let's see here. Let's pull this
Do it,
up.
Tom. Touch it.
I don't, why is he telling him to touch stuff? Goodness gracious. People are going to think that I'm watching something weird. Look, that was not something weird. That was this.
Touch it. Okay, Ukraine, Russia.
All right. So this is a quick clip of Sebastian Gorka answering Patrick McDavid. They're talking about Ukraine. And one, Sebastian Gorka, great host. He's got his own show. He's like a Newsmax contributor, but he was a deputy to President Trump.
hmm
Super with it policy guy with foreign relations and homeland security and defense issues and all that stuff. Here's what he has to say.
You briefed a lot of 05s, 06s, and 1-stars. This is a question from a lot of different people that get asked, and you hear the answer. How can you not see what Russia is doing? How can you not see what Ukraine is doing? How can you not see the fact that there's ties between Biden and Ukraine? Do you not remember what he said publicly? If you don't do this, and then I'll do this. How can you not see all this stuff? And then, hey, F-16, yeah, May 16th.
I wrote a piece on my Substack days when conservatives hated KGB colonels and thought Russia invading other countries was bad. I remember those days. The idea today that, oh, he's a champion of the West and he's a Christian. You mean the same guy who persecuted Christians when he was a uniform-wearing member of the KGB? What about the biolabs? Oh, who built the biolabs? The Soviet Union built the biolabs. That's interesting. And then the question that, well, we shouldn't help them because Ukraine's corrupt. That's the dumbest one. Is DC corrupt? Do you think Biden's corrupt? If you do, does that mean China can just invade and roll their tanks down Pennsylvania Avenue? This is wrong. The simplest way to understand it, corruption up the yazoo or not, is this. This man is a bully. He's a bully who said for 20 years, since he became president, he's been giving lectures how Ukraine, how Poland, how the Baltic states are illegitimate, have no right to exist as independent states. Go back to school. Go back to when you're 10-year-old. What happens to the bully if he doesn't get challenged? What happens? He keeps on bullying. When does he stop bullying? When you give the bastard a bloody nose. We're helping the Ukrainians give this guy a bloody nose. And to the last thing about this Tucker Carlson kind of, who cares about the world, pull down the shutters on the Pacific and the Atlantic, screw them all. If 1776 means something to you as an American, let me remind you that without the French, the Dutch, and the Spanish, this would still be part of the British Empire. Period. End of story. If the French...
None of my friends enjoy anything about what Sebastian Gorka just said. 0%. But I'll say this. He's not wrong. He's not confused about the history of Russia, the Baltic states, Ukraine, about our own history. And people say the 1776 moment, but usually people don't back it up with any substance. And there's a lot more video here. It's around an hour and 40 minutes into this interview, episode 272 of the PBD podcast. But I was just listening to it. I was like doing something else, and I was like, oh, we got to talk about that because it's interesting.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
What are your thoughts?
No, it's definitely an interesting perspective. I have a lot of thoughts on this too. I have a lot of thoughts all the time. So, I think, I mean, I agree with him. This is a bully. This is a bully that we need to go after, and we can't just let him, bulldoze over Ukraine. But I think the frustration has been that Biden has been such a weak leader that I think there is merit to the argument that this never would have happened had Trump been in office. And so now that it has, we've got this bully who he's doing this because partially, I think, because he there isn't any retaliation. Like, he's not afraid of Biden. He's not afraid of the US. And that's what bullies thrive on. Bullies thrive when there's no retaliation. However, the issue is that while, Biden is sending all of these things over to help Ukraine, he's simultaneously weakening our country. So, we've got a crisis in literally every aspect of American life right now. Like, we've got our borders, we have migrants going to like all of these big cities, and we have, them sleeping in school gyms and police stations, and we've given up our oil reserves, and, our military is a joke. We've got drag queens recruiting in the Navy. Like, every single part of our country is weakened. So, under the Trump presidency, if this would have happened, we would have had the resources to help these people. But simultaneously sending things over to this country to help them while we're being weakened here, we're not going to be able to give any bully on the planet a bloody nose ever again at this point. Like, we can't fight back against Russia. Eventually, we're not going to be able to give, Putin a bloody nose. We're not going to be able to go after China. We're not going to be able to go after anybody. So if we're weak and we are not strong enough to handle these fights, then we've got to think twice about how much we're sending over there and how much we are supporting them, because we're not going to be able to do anything eventually, if that makes sense.
So he goes on. I gotta forward to this spot. What is it? 4350. A lot of people don't know about this, but it's just really interesting history here, folks. So we'll take a listen.
Be very clear what he did. The guy who is accused today of being a Russian asset. Do you know what we
Talking
did
about
when we
Trump.
found 300 Russians running around Syria? Wagner Group guys working for the Kremlin. You know what we did? He called up Mattis and he said, turn them into red mist now. Kill them all. We killed 300 Russian soldiers in Syria. No president since the revolution of 1917 has killed hundreds of Russians in wartime. We did, okay? He's not an isolationist. What happened in Syria when we saw the chemical... this is declassified now, I can talk about it. What happened when we saw the chemical cake at Mar-a-Lago with Xi Jinping eating his chocolate cake? The president leant over and said, I just launched 52 cruise missiles on that Syrian airbase. He's not interested in dumb wars. He's not interested in fighting other people's wars. But when you cross a line, we will make you extra crispy. That's President Trump. Strength through leadership, peace through strength. That is, look, one of the most powerful moments for me in the White House is I went into the Oval. It was just me and the president. And I was there to brief him on Iran, I think. And he's very sidetracked. He's sitting sideways to the Resolute desk. He's reading some documents. And out of nowhere, because I'm there to talk about the Iran deal and killing it, and he looks up and he says, Sebastian, I do not, Kim had just done something. Sebastian, I do not want to have American GIs die on the Korean Peninsula again. I mean, he just went so heavy, so fast. But if we have to go to war, we will.
What he's describing is as a vet, as a warrior type person. That's a lot of the reason that I'd vote for Trump. There are people watching the show right now. You have no idea that Trump blew 300 Russians off the face of the earth because they were working in secret in Syria against our interests and in a way that is completely not allowed. Now, Obama, just like the bin Laden situation, he would have had that shouted from the rooftops before they even, before the thing was even done. But in my view, one of the strongest areas of leadership that whoever the president needs to bring into the Oval is military leadership and foreign policy, the way that they wheel and deal on the international stage. And maybe DeSantis can do it. He could demonstrate that now as the commander-in-chief of the Florida National Guard. He could certainly demonstrate that now. Chooses not to, which is cool. Whatever. I don't pretend to know what it's like to be a governor or a president. That's my 2 cents. We're here to offer our 2 cents. Guys, this interview, usually podcast hosts don't promote other podcasts. I love the Patrick Bet David podcast. It's really good. This interview, it's 2 hours long, but man, it's so good. Highly recommend it. So good.
Well, and I mean, this whole situation would definitely, this issue alone would make me vote for Trump. And it's not that I don't think that DeSantis, that Ron DeSantis could have that kind of power and influence and, make people like, Russia and all of these foreign countries, they were afraid of Trump. Everybody tiptoed around him because they knew that he meant business. And when we have all of these things going on around the world, when we got things going on with our southern border and, China thinks we're a joke and Russia, is doing their thing. We've got all these things going on. We need somebody that can step in to the Oval Office on day one, and these people fall back into line immediately because they're scared. And I don't know that, when I say that I think Ron DeSantis could eventually have that kind of respect, I don't know that we have the time to wait for him to build up that respect. Like, we need our foreign policies to be snapped back in line immediately.
I think that he's demonstrated no. Their
Yeah.
federal agencies have encroached on the Constitution in Article 1, it outlines the powers of the president. It outlines what the president's supposed to do as the executive, as the executor of the law, to administer justice. And then our state governments are that same model, the same, I almost said triune. What's the word? Yeah, it is triune. No, wait. Yeah, triune government. There we go. Three house government, whatever. Is the same way that the states are fashioned, where the governor is the chief law enforcement official, essentially. People don't think of it, but kind of like a police chief or like the sheriff of sheriffs or whatever, making sure that the law is administered, it's carried out. They're the executor. They're executing the law, which is also why philosophically, that's why they have the pardoning power to correct a miscarriage of justice, and that balance between the legislature, the judiciary, and the executive. He's already had federal agencies come in and, bend him over more than once. And Kristi Noem doesn't stand for that. The governors of North Dakota, South Dakota, Nebraska, they're like, no. They're like, hey, we got a copy of the 10th Amendment and we read and understood it here, and we can tell you now. Oh, we're the FBI. Tough crap. We'll have our deputies arrest you if you come in here and try that crap. They had Interpol operations. They had Canadian feds and the FBI doing operations in like northern Montana or something. And the sheriff, with the governor's blessing, went out there and told him, if you guys don't pull up your wires and you're going to get out of here, you're going to jail. Ron DeSantis doesn't do that. He can. He doesn't like the way that it'll look. And the same thing with the Manhattan district attorney. He could have told him to kick rocks. You need way more than you currently have to come into Florida and take a Florida resident to your kangaroo court. And they'd be like, oh, but extradition and interstate. He could say, tough crap. This is Florida. This is my house. Just like Trump says, this is the United States. It's my house. I don't care about NATO. I don't care about the UN. Well, we have rules. And he looked at the Constitution and said, your rules ain't on my document. Ron DeSantis hasn't done that, because Ron DeSantis can look at the United States Constitution and the Constitution of Florida and say, sorry, FBI, your rules are not on my documents. So kick rocks.
Yeah.
And he should. Yeah. Ron DeSantis, if you somehow get to hear this, you should do that. People are on your side. That's what we want to see from you.
Yep, exactly. So I'm not arguing any of that. So like I said, this one issue alone, I'm like, this really makes me wonder. So that's why I say I'm not against Trump. I'm still very much in favor of Trump, but I am listening to DeSantis. But yeah.
CH says DeSantis is not ready for the big leagues. So who?
Yeah.
MJ Nick. I don't know. I like both his VP pick. I think this was the conversation about Carrie Lake and Kristi Noem.
Yeah.
Kristi Noem's the bee's knees.
She is. I really like her. But
man, maybe I don't want to pull the the identity card, but I do, not for any reason other than it'd be pretty cool. And they're like, oh, Republicans never believe that. I think that it would be really dope to have a female president. Doesn't matter if she's black or white or Asian or whatever. Not Tulsi Gabbard. I'm not a Tulsi Gabbard fan. I don't understand. No, I don't think Trump or DeSantis should pick Tulsi Gabbard to reach across. No.
No.
But
I don't know.
I think Kristi Noem would be an awesome president. I just think she'd do a killer job.
I think so too. I'm actually kind of surprised that she's not throwing her hat in the ring, but I mean, a lot of people are, I saw somebody comment the other day, like, why don't we have more diversity? And it's like, well, it's not that, I don't have a problem with diversity. I don't have a problem with, anybody of any skin color running, or a man or a woman, but it's like, I want a good person in office. I want the best person in office. And I'm not going to cast my vote just because, we need more representation in the presidency. Like, that's not working so well for the Biden administration, guys. I mean, if we've learned anything about identity politics, is how bad it is to make decisions just based on wanting to see like external diversity. So,
Yep.
yep.
But I'd be like, oh, that's pretty cool. Now, if Kamala
Yeah.
Harris is somehow the first female president, I will throw up and cry myself to sleep. But it's whatever.
Well, I don't know. I mean, I know that nobody would vote her into office, but
Yeah.
if they end up by whatever means as being in the White House again for a second term, and then Joe, mysteriously like falls down the stairs and
Yeah.
doesn't
Is
get
Hillary
up.
Clinton still allowed in the White House? I
Like
hope not.
legally, or
Yeah.
like, what do you mean?
Let's
Is she
just,
allowed to run again?
no, is she allowed to visit in the White House? Because I wouldn't let her near Joe Biden. I really wouldn't. I think the Secret Service should have a rule against that.
Yeah, you need to hire a
Mm.
food taster. Make
Yeah,
sure.
for sure. Oh my goodness. Well, I don't want to make the show any longer. I do want to let the viewers, listeners, let all you guys know that we really appreciate you engaging with the show, listening, liking, subscribing, sharing, doing all that stuff. We are not like Steven Crowder's or Daily Wire's here, no budget, and like this is what we have, these cameras, these lights and stuff. But we are interested in your ideas. If you have ideas for segments or things, not just stories. People send stories all the time. There's no shortage of good newsworthy topics. You could throw a rock and hit a story. But if there's something that you want to see like segment wise, let us know.
Yeah, definitely open to ideas and just having fun.
I have a firsthand account that outspoken Samantha does in fact respond to her Twitter DMs. So, and you guys know, ask at the Joe Mobley Show, easiest place to get a hold of me, email wise. Otherwise, if you throw something in the social media sphere, I might see it. This is not a flex, but so across all the platforms, I've got like 107,000 followers, subscribe, whatever. And it gets hard to find a message. Like you have like crazy, like not crazy, a crazy amount of Facebook subscribers. And I'm just like, because I know that Facebook, it's kind of easy to message people. So I can only imagine what your inbox could look like over there. Twitter does a good job of weeding out. I've got so many Chinese like bots. It's always like a half-dressed Asian woman. Like, get the algorithm right. I've never been romantically interested in an Asian. Not racist. I've just, that's just not my cup of tea.
Those Chinese female bots message me all the time too. So.
Oh yeah. Oh wow. Who is doing that? Oh my gosh.
I have no idea.
It's America. Your best bet is to pick a black or white woman.
Yeah.
It's the United States. Okay. Goodness gracious. Yeah. Well, I'm glad that that's happening, because I'm like, what do they have in their algorithm? Like, just no. Why would you think? It's not good social engineering. Like, why would you think that someone would reply to this? They'll never let Trump win. Well, Laura, I have ideas about that. Well, if I say that, we'll definitely get kicked off of YouTube. What I think could possibly happen to Trump. So anyway.
Yeah, we'll be having lots of Trump versus DeSantis conversations over the next year. So
I'll just be restating things that I've stated today about the courage, the military leadership, like acumen. DeSantis could learn some acumen things. It's just, man, courage is, it's difficult to teach, but man, he needs to get on that thing like now.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you have any last thoughts? That makes it sound like we're gonna execute you. Do you have any last words for the show? Not last words, gosh. You know what I'm trying to ask.
We're struggling. It's a good thing we weren't running DeSantis's launch campaign either.
Are you kidding? We would have done a better job.
Yeah, maybe. Do you have any last words, DeSantis?
Yeah, like what is this? A firing squad? What's happening?
Yeah, I mean, as you guys can see, we have our own technical difficulties here, but I mean, it's always fun to have these conversations, and you know, as I say, I never know what we're going to be talking about next week, so.
That's true. I stopped filling in the running idea list because, I mean, stuff just right now while the show is going on. I'm sure 5 or 6 things have already broke. Like.
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, maybe we just need to do this like every night, because the stories that you hear on Monday are going to be old news by the time we get to Thursday. So
that's true. It's
yeah,
true.
yeah.
So,
I appreciate it, guys, and I love all of the comments and the interactions. It's a lot of fun.
We will see you next week.